and welcome to episode 16 of the third season of Les Oderants. I am Dan, and peculiarly, I am joined by only two of the other three Oderants this week. I'm joined by Fliss and Ben. Say hello, everyone.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hello! Yes, where the fuck is James? I hear you all cry. Indeed, that's what we've been crying. But no, James has got some social sort of stuff that he needs to do, can't get out of. And we sort of had a group discussion and decided, look, we've been pretty shit recently at getting the podcast out. So we decided, as much as it pains us, we will record without James this week. And therefore, there will be no full 14. But we may pad some of this out just a little bit so that you get
Well, you say there'll be no full 14, but...
Oh, right, okay. Fliss is coming in hot with 14 perfumes.
No, I'm not. I'm really not.
No, you better fucking not do it as well. I was actually going to remark that actually we don't tend to share a lot about what we've been doing with ourselves, on this podcast. Like I feel like I'm reasonably guarded about, my real world personage and all that shit. To the extent that actually my perfume reviews have been getting increasingly pithy. Yeah. They've just been getting shorter and more to the point. I think today's one was something like, here are 3 perfumes, I like 2 of them, not the other one, thanks, bye. And it was like
wow. And they still send you shit.
Yeah. Detailed reviews like that is what keeps this
God,
fucking...
I wobble on for hours and nobody sends me anything. Well, that's not true. Some people do.
No, in fairness, if it's something that's been sent to me for review, I will tend to write something about it. And actually, interestingly, recently, and shout out really, because I think this is good brand behaviour, but I got approached by a brand, I think, Static Olfactive, static with a K. And
Ben shouts, from the background. He's already gone. He's already gone for anybody who can't see us. He's wombled off.
Fucking quit. It's because James isn't here to keep him in check. They sent me a perfume to review called Into the Wild, which is not bad. I didn't like it a great deal though, and I did write to the brand and I said, look, I'm going to be honest with you lads, I don't really like this. It's not a bad perfume per se, but it's really not my thing at all. And they were like, well, fine, publish a review, we're happy to have sort of honest reviews. And I like that. Every so often, if I say that to a brand, they will tell me to spike it and not actually publish something, which is fine. That's kind of, I've always said that I won't write, lies. I won't fabricate stuff. Yeah, well, but I won't write untruths. If I don't like something, I'm not going to say I like it when I don't. And so, whilst I won't be sort of unnecessarily cruel just for the sake of it, some brands don't want me to publish that stuff, and that's fine. That's sort of within their gift to say, well, thanks, appreciate the review, but let's not publish that. That's okay. But these guys just went, yeah. Oh, we get it. It's not for everyone, but go ahead and publish it, please. So shout out to Static Olfactive for that. And I think the review was, this is an okay perfume. It's like, if you're into sort of crazy green shit that sort of smells a bit smoky and woody, then, cool. And if you're not, well, like me, probably it's just a pass. So Static Olfactive, not bad. But so anyway, my point was, before I sort of wombled off about Static Olfactive, was that I feel like I'm reasonably guarded about what I share. So I don't think I'm going to change that. I've got fuck all to report. My apologies, but I have no real intention of sharing lots of personal insights and information. Fliss, what have you got to report? Because I read a very nice and interesting post that you did on Instagram with a very lovely photo of yourself, I thought.
Yeah, I've had a really shit couple of weeks. Anyone who's interested can go to Instagram. But it's just an ongoing story of my life as a special needs mum. And then I had a root canal, which was joyful in comparison and quite relaxing. I had a whole hour to myself.
You weren't just in the chair.
Just in the chair it was completely alone with my thoughts, apart from my dentist drilling in to yeah. But it was relatively pleasant in comparison to the rest of the week. So yeah, that happened. I think the most interesting things that I have been trying, Rich Mitch the Duck sent me a tester set from Anthologie de Grand Cru from l'Atelier Français des Matières.
What the fuck did you just say?
Well,
that all sounds like some of that foreign nonsense.
Well, your dudes who own Les Indémodables have a Grand Cru situation where they have all their own lovely materials, and they have now another line. I don't think it's both of them. I think it's just one of them has a line. And forgive me for not doing enough research. I think it's the dude, not the lady. And they've created this phenomenal...
Highly technical.
I know. People tune in for this shit. Highly technical, beautiful perfumes. That said, I mean, looking at, all of the blurb that comes with it, and they're obviously sourcing phenomenal materials, like really, really carefully collected, high grade, that their prices are reflecting the fact that it's not just high grade stuff, but it's also fair trade, and they're really concerned with how they source this stuff. And in one of the ones that I'm going to talk about, they say that the ambergris changes from batch to batch, so the perfume won't always change. There's this really high level of being very open about the frags, and I was really excited because I love Les Indémodables, I love Antoine Lee and all of that stuff, and I was just like, yes, this is going to be great. And I have to say, while I really could smell the quality, I was a little bit underwhelmed. My whelm was on the floor.
Undercooked.
Yeah. And then
floor-whelmed.
And there's a vanilla one.
Oh, but I mean, sorry to jump straight in there, but it sounds like with that sort of setup, the only way is down. I mean, there's no way, given everything you just said in the run-up there, that anything could actually sort of be, good enough to sort of...
be Les Indémodables.
Well, I don't know. You just gave it a lot of fucking hype in the run-up. I was thinking, shit, these are going to be fucking incredible.
I know. And there's this one called... And I think that they started the range in 2016, which is a long time ago now, in very, very fancy bottles. And I believe the bottles are now less fancy. There's one called Vanille Damine, and they write extensively about how they source the vanilla and which Planiflora variety differs from the other one, and all this stuff, which smells amazing. And it's got 15% Grand Cru Madagascar vanilla in it. It just smelled of cloves and pepper. And I was... that made me a bit sad, and I thought maybe I'm just being a dick. Maybe that's just one I don't like. So then I tried Ambre Stone de l'Atelier, which is their big ambergris one. And again, it's got like an ambergris infusion of 5%, and then they talk about all of the other Grand Cru infusions in there, like neroli and patchouli oil and sandalwood. What does
Grand Cru mean?
Grand Cru is a bit like a fine wine, isn't it? It's like the top vintage.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah, they use it a lot with champagne and good wines. And I was, again, it was a very pleasant. It was you could smell the quality of the materials, but both of them felt unfinished. And I was talking to Rich Mitch about it, and he said he has a sort of theory that it's all about showcasing the material. But we both agreed that they are not finished perfumes to wear. I felt both of them were very close to the skin and just didn't... I wanted to be just have my eyes roll back and be absolutely in love. And I was gutted that I wasn't. And I think one of the reasons that Rich Mitch sent them to me was because he was a bit gutted that he didn't either, because otherwise he'd have kept the sample. So he's not going to send me something he thinks is phenomenal. So yeah, it was a bit sad. I was a bit like, I don't know about that. It's it was interesting that something so obviously high quality, with so much thought and so much concern and so much beautiful marketing material, still left me wanting. And I was a bit like, meh.
Is it one of those things, do you think, where perhaps for them, like they feel like it's impressive because it's got a lot almost it's good for them, but if you don't know like the ins and outs of their brand, like you don't really care, because for them it's like it's like, oh, this is our best favourite vanilla from our Grand Cru farm. You're actually like, that doesn't really mean much to me though. Does it smell good? Like, because that's all you really care about. And so perhaps the meaning is sort of lost outside of... Yeah,
totally. But then that makes me feel a little bit, not Emperor's New Clothes, because there is obviously a lot of substance there. But I did spend a couple of days just wondering, am I a complete heathen?
Yeah, I was going to say, I bet you if they listen to this, they'd be like, Philistine!
Philistine! But then I was talking to Rich Mitch and he was like, well, no, because obviously if they were phenomenal, then there would be more chat about them. And, Les and Demodable get so much love, particularly on the groups, amongst perfume enthusiasts. I feel like I'm not being a dick. I just...
It sounds like they've gone for technical impressiveness and almost like technical virtuosity rather than actually smelling great. And I think that is a sort of mistake that I think a lot of brands kind of can end up with. Is like, we've, and it doesn't have to be technical virtuosity, but it has to be some sort of element of virtuosity, like we've nailed the fuck out of this brief. Okay, yeah, but that's a terrible brief and this smells like a dick salad, that kind of thing. And I do think that a lot of perfumery seems to lose sight of the fact that things actually have to smell good as well. Otherwise, it's kind of this is your specialist subject.
But that's the funny thing. Like, I often wonder the same thing myself, though. Even like, have I even lost sight as an enthusiast as to where all this? What's the point in all this? Like sometimes you sit there wondering,
what's the fucking point?
Well, you sit there, you spray something, and you think, yeah, it smells fucking hideous. I'm never going to wear it. I love it, but then you sort of pop it down on the table, and you think, and why have I bought this again? Like, I can't wear it in public. No one's going to enjoy this. Like, I'm not going to enjoy it past a curiosity, or a brief. Well, not even brief, but because I do enjoy them like all day long. But it's not. When you spray something, as almost to say, like, when you spray something that just smells good, even if it's a bit crap, you're probably going to enjoy it all day. Whereas if you spray something that's technically really impressive or really interesting or whatever, you might not enjoy it like 90% of the time you're wearing it, but those 10% you do, it makes up for the other 90%. But it's, I don't know, you still sit there wondering, like, is this really the point? I don't know.
I felt like I was walking into a really posh, beautiful art gallery, and people had... the artist is amazing and everyone had told me about the work. And I walked around going, yeah, and then left the art gallery and completely forgot any of it.
Not their best work.
We're essentially advocating for is fish and chips rather than the 5-star, the Grand Prix dinner or whatever.
But 5-star dinners can be great. I mean, I've had Michelin-starred food that's amazing, and then I've had stuff that you sort of go, oh, what is the point of this?
Rather have a battered sausage, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, batter my sausage. What has tickled me somewhat, Ben, is that we're on to episode 16 of the 3rd season of this podcast, and now is the very moment that you go, oh, what's the point of all of this? Oh, fuck! Why bother?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's great. I just on the subject of Rich Mitch, he was an absolute doll, but he sent me a WhatsApp with a picture of some perfume, and he said someone's selling this for lots and lots of money. What do you reckon? And I said, what even is that? And he goes, oh, well, I don't know. I was hoping you would, and that I would sort of lure you out and get you to tell me, and then I could sort of just nod and agree. And then he sort of quickly followed it up with "never speak of this again." Sorry, Rich, I spoke of it. They sound like a bit of a disappointment. And you know what? I was actually thinking when when James said that he couldn't make it this week, I was thinking, oh fuck, well, we're gonna have to do something a bit different to the full 14. And I was gonna suggest that we did a feature on for each of us going through our perfumes. What has surprised us? What's disappointed us, and what have we fallen in love with? That kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, that would be fun.
It would be, but you're already on the way there with.
Well, I can do another one that disappointed me if you want.
Oh, yeah, fuck it. Yeah, let's not bother. Let's ruin my feature idea. Let's just double down on what's disappointed. Go on.
No, I'm not ruining it. I'm just saying that
you are. You fucking ruined everything.
More things disappoint me this week than things I've tried and I've loved. I'm going to be a total heathen. Because
why break the habit of a lifetime?
I know. So Quentin Biche has released with what's his name?
No, you can't call him Quentin Biche. You have to just call him the Biche.
The Biche. Okay, so the Biche has got this darling that is out on the groups for
Tilia.
Yes. And
you didn't like it?
Everyone is just going absolutely nuts for it. And I asked if somebody could send me a sample, and lovely Claire Bradshaw, friend of the show, hello Claire, thank you so much, sent me like a care package with a load of stuff in it, but it was mainly because she was sending me some Tilia. Oh my fucking God. I know that I'm not the biggest Biche fan out there, but this, to me, was like the most awful, headache-inducing, aroma-chemical hell that I'd experienced. I felt like it was just... If you'd put it in a Britney Spears bottle, I'd have believed it. It felt just angry and sharp and floral in the most aggressive way, and it wouldn't wash off. My husband said I smelt like a swimming pool.
That sounds cool, though. Swimming pools smell great.
Well, I think he was referring to this kind of nasal cleansing bleach effect, which I also agreed with. And there was just nothing about it that I enjoyed at all. And it kind of made me... I mean, I know that I have a very different style to a lot of this modern stuff, but I felt like there was nothing exquisite or fun or delightful. It was not expressive. There was no nuance, no progression. It was just spray. That's what you get, and you're going to get it for 8 hours, and I'm going to just scream it at you. And I just hated it. And I know...
Yeah. This is what you get, and you are going to get it good and fucking hard. That is the Quentin Biche credo, I think.
Yeah.
Have you tried it, Ben?
No,
have you tried Tilia?
I haven't, no.
Okay, so I have. I actually thought it was rather nice, but I have to sort of caveat this, right?
Yeah.
Because all this Biche stuff that he's done for Marc-Antoine Barrois, and actually he's done it for other houses as well. It has this ultra modern. I don't know what the aroma chemical is. It's not ambroxan. It's amberarome maybe, or some sort of
Amberfix.
Amberfix, that's it. It's Amberfix, which is like, and it's present in everything. So all these perfumes end up smelling more or less the same in the sort of dry down. And it is unrelenting. It's like some sort of, if you love it, great. You're
Yeah.
going to love the fuck out of it. But if you are even halfway close to being unsure about it, this thing will pin you down and fuck your eyes out. It is fucking horrific. And Tilia, I thought, started out. It's the Linden Blossom
It's Linden
one,
Blossom,
isn't
and
it?
I got all of that lovely fluff, and I have a couple of other Linden Blossom things that I really like, but I just felt that Ambrifix was just, it was like having a piece of classical music that was beautifully created off the Linden Blossom and heliotrope, and just this banging track underneath going, rah, rah, rah! It's basically like, I mean, to extend that, it's you going to see a very peaceful, melodic sort of piece of classical music in a very sort of refined environment, whilst in the car park there's some cunt in a blacked out Range Rover banging out sort of techno beats, like with a sort of bass that's making the whole, building shudder. That is basically the beach style, though. They're all more or less the same. They differ in their sort of smell, the opening, the scent, or whatever. But stylistically, they are all this fucking ultra fucking modern sledgehammer type perfumes. I actually thought Tilia was rather nice. It was the nicest, I think, of the ones that I've tried. That's not to say, by the way, I feel like I may have characterised Biche incorrectly there. Not all of his work is like that, but certainly the modern stuff that he's been doing for Marc-Antoine Barrois, using this Ambrifix, or is that what it's called? Ambrifix? Yeah, it's called Ambrifix.
Yeah. All of that stuff, to me, it's just too fucking much. It is like just being beaten to death with some sort of like perfume. Uncool. Okay, so you didn't love that.
I did.
Well,
more
you hated
than not
it.
I
You hated it.
unrelentingly hated it. But I did a lot of hating this week, to be honest.
Oh God, have you got another hate?
Yeah, I bought.
What is wrong with you?
I tried some Boucheron, the original Boucheron woman, because someone said to me that it's very similar to 24 Faubourg, which is apparently about to be discontinued or whatever. And someone said, oh, you should try Boucheron, the original Boucheron, because it's in a beautiful bottle and it's very similar. And I looked on Fragrantica and it was very similar too. And it kind of was similar, but if Hermès is all classical and soft and just quiet luxury in a way, not completely quiet because you all know what a Hermès handbag looks like, but quiet enough. Boucheron is like the glitzy glam version, and so it was 24 Faubourg, but it was this big headache-inducing version with this yellow floral, so big and brashy, and it just felt incredibly 80s, and it felt dated in a way. And I know I love a vintage, but it felt dated in a way that I really wasn't coping with. And it could be that I was having a bad week and I'd already had a headache with Tilia, but this one also gave me a headache and I was just not having it. So that one got scrubbed as well.
I think going into that, with the comparison in your mind of an Hermès as well, is already setting that up for failure, because like you say, with an Hermès fragrance, whenever I think, I wear Hermès today, it's almost always because I think I want something like understated and classy, quite clean and classy, and something
doesn't put a foot wrong.
No, exactly. You can,
even if you don't
reliable.
like it, it's just exquisite and beautiful, and even if it's not entirely your thing or the notes aren't your thing, it doesn't put a foot wrong.
It's going to get you there in time. Totally. Yeah, it felt like and I totally understand the love, and I feel like maybe a lot of the love it gets is because of people's memories of their mum wearing it or that kind of thing. I think that there's a nostalgia to it that I could understand. It felt a little bit like Poème from Lancôme, which I also think is a nostalgic perfume that hasn't carried through. Some sort of older perfumes from the 80s and 90s are so of their time that wearing them again, it's not like a classical fragrance like Chanel or Shalimar or whatever. They just don't follow through, and you know that you're wearing the 80s or you know that you're wearing the 90s. And for me, the Boucheron felt very much like I just put on
mad shoulder pads, and I wasn't wearing enough makeup, and I wasn't going to a large enough lobster lunch somewhere in LA to organise my divorce. That's how I felt.
Nice. Okay, so I mean, it sounds like, Fliss, you've not had the best week, perfume-wise.
Well, I mean, I have, because I've also been wearing my own collection. But those are the main things that I tested and went, oh, God, this is why. I mean, sometimes I test and I enjoy testing, but this week my testing was not happy. So then I'd like yesterday.
Test fails.
So yesterday I just went back and did the 24 Faubourg, and it was fucking gorgeous. I've worn, some old favourites, some, Shalimar versions, and just gone, oh, thank God, So, yeah, it's just the testing stuff that I was less than happy with this past 2 weeks.
Excellent. So my idea was that we would have 3 fragrances, one you were surprised by, one you were disappointed by, and one you loved. And you just went for 3 disappointments.
Well, you didn't tell me about the other rules.
No, I didn't. I didn't even really think about it until about 5 minutes ago. So yeah, no, I didn't tell you. My apologies.
We'll do that next time.
Ben. Yeah, Ben, were you any closer to my 3?
No, not really. Because I wore some great things. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
You've got 3 great ones.
Yeah, there's 3 great ones. Well, actually, I've got one that's a surprise. Go on, I have got a surprise.
Surprise me.
All right, so should we go for the surprise first? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, this one, Dior Sakura, right? Now, I bought this a few months ago, maybe even more. I might have bought it at Christmas, can't remember. But I bought it, and I didn't like it at all. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And I still feel that even now, because I can smell it from here because it hums, right? But I really enjoyed it. And I don't know if it's the weather or what, but basically this is exactly as you would imagine a perfume that's called Sakura and is bright pink would smell like. This is exactly it. It's like powdery,
sort of blossomy.
Very, very sweet powdery, like a lot of mimosa. So it has that kind of green, dewy element. That was the bit that I think stuck out to me, because before I smelled it and I was like, oh, like this smells like a childish rose perfume, because the rose in it is very like rose water-esque, if you like. It's not a heady, like thick, dark rose at all. It's like like a child's rose water almost. And I just hated it last time, but this time I don't know. I don't know if it's like that kind of green, dewy, kind of watery vibe that mimosa brings. That it just kind of works with the weather a bit more. I don't know. But I really enjoyed it, and it was really good. And it is still, I would say, what I originally thought, which is this overly sweet, overly kind of powdery floral, almost a little bit juvenile. But I don't know, like the wet sort of watery dewiness and the mix combined with like this, it has a lot of like almost like cloudy musks, which I wouldn't know what they are in terms of ingredients and stuff, but it's, just a clean sort of like...
I'd be surprised if Dior, especially that Privé line, released anything that was so sweet it felt too childish.
Yeah, I mean, I should send you some of this, because I think actually, Fliss, I actually think you would hate this for that exact reason.
Really?
I think you'd find this really juvenile and childish. It's a little bit too, like, if you said just now mentioning that you've been wearing a lot of Shalimar. If you rock this up next to Shalimar, Shalimar would be like, oh my gosh, get this young lady out of here. Like, this crass, hideous young lady away from me. But it's just, I don't know. There's something, and I didn't like it, but I really enjoyed it this time when I wore it. I thought actually this has like hidden depths to it that I perhaps didn't give it a chance the first time, and I don't know if I'll give it a chance again, because I'm still not convinced. But it just
Are
worked.
you going to sell it then? Or are you going to take a decant and then sell it? No, you don't sell anything, do you?
Look at the bottle; it's so lovely.
Is he fuck? He's going to leave it on his shelf collecting dust, and then maybe he might try it again in about 3 years' time.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Precisely.
Brilliant.
Precisely that. Yeah, I really like the big Dior bottles. They're just so lovely.
They are nice.
Is that a 250 or is that?
250.
Yeah, 250 one could do some serious damage.
They're a good size for holding in your hand.
They're hefty. You feel like I mean, they are expensive, and I've only ever bought them on the grey secondhand. But having them, especially in the case, that cardboard case that just has that soft as you close it. As you close it, there's just a of money. It just goes
floop.
Yeah, it's a soft thwap of £1,000.
Floopy flap.
Right. It's a soft thwap.
Of a lot of money going down on a counter somewhere. Like that.
I picked up a 125 ml oud. Oh God, I always forget the bloody name of it. Ispahan. The other day. Yeah, weirdly, riffing on your tooth, your root canal jobby, I had to go to a fucking dentist the other day. It turns out I had a crack in my tooth. It was extremely painful. It's probably not as impressively painful as root canal, but it basically meant anything touching it, like toothbrush, food, drink, anything, just absolute fucking agony. And I went along, and because it was an emergency appointment, it wasn't my usual dentist. And I walked in, and I just said to the dentist, "Are you wearing Oud Ispahan?" And he goes, "Yeah. Nobody ever fucking guesses that." And I was like, "Get in!" Fucking just like straight
years
up.
and years of fragrance research has finally paid off.
Yeah, get in. I was like, that's a pretty fucking bold choice for a dentist, if I'm honest. But
it really is.
It is. But for some reason, it smelt great, and also he fixed my tooth, and I emerged from the dentist without any pain. So I was like, "Yep, I'm now going to have to go get a bottle of Oud Ispahan."
You can smell like what you want.
Yeah, exactly. So I got one of those floopy thwap bottles as well, boxes. So the Ispahan goes. It's very. It's very satisfying indeed. So apart from the Sakura, Ben, what else?
Yeah, so this one, I was wearing it today and it's great. And Dan, you would like this. I'm quite convinced you would actually really like this. Atelier d'Or, Crepuscule des Ames.
Crepuscule. Crepuscule. So
I don't know.
Well. What I do know is that crepuscular rays, you know, like when you see those pictures of the sunlight coming through the clouds,
like
and it's
God
all
fingers.
fucking. Is that what you call them?
Yeah.
God fingers. I've never heard those. Okay, but the technical term for that, I believe, is crepuscular rays. Is that
makes sense.
what this is? Is it a sunshine?
Yeah, no, it absolutely makes sense because it's a very bright, summery sort of citrus. But here's the interesting thing, right? So when you first spray it, it smells really like an old school masculine barbershop. It's got like a lot of people compare it to opium pohom and like.
Nice.
To be honest, it's the masculine barbershop kind of thing. Like it's very vintage smelling, but to spice it up and make it interesting and spice it up literally, it's got like chili pepper and orange in it, like which gives it like a modern feel, like, you know, like
nice.
Really a bright, juicy orange. And if you imagine that on top of that sort of barbershoppy thing, it's kind of like that's quite an unusual combination, right? Because it's suddenly you're not quite sure if it's a sort of vintage masculine barbershop thing or a bright summer.
Well, I'm just reading the blurb and it says, white signifies purity, light, radiance, possibilities and joy of new beginnings. The new fragrances pay homage to white space, the page, canvas, or an idea in its conception. Poets, writers, composers, artists and perfumers use the white space to reveal their art. And this celebrates perfumery as the eighth art, bringing meaning to the new creations. It's a twilight of the souls, with fine spices and a warm golden glow. Blah, blah, blah.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty good.
Whatever that was all about.
Yeah. But no, like radiance makes sense as well. I would say that, yeah, it does. I would go along with that. But it's really good. And it's quite funky. It has, like, it's not clean in the least. So when you think like those old school barbershops, it's the funky, sweaty ones, you know, it has that element to it, which I don't know if that's the chili and stuff in it, but it's It's good, and yeah, I think you would like it a lot, Dan. I'll have to send you some because I'm convinced this is up your street.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't actually tried many by Atelier des Ors. I have tried one or two, and of the ones I've tried, I've not actually found them to be particularly good, if I'm honest. There was a blue one which was sort of pleasant enough. Riviera Drive or something. It was all right. It was all right.
I don't like that collection at all. Actually, it was with the blue bowls.
Yeah, well, it was very disposable. You know, and highly priced for something so disposable. I thought.
I thought they phoned that collection in a little bit. Actually.
Yeah, well, entirely possible. Isn't there a vanilla one that's like the big noise in that collection?
Oh, he loves that. Ben loves that one.
It's fucking good. And do you know what? It's not the vanilla that's good. It's the cardamom in it that's fucking amazing. It's unreal. Like the vanilla, like it's just vanilla. It's just, okay, whatever. It works as a really nice backdrop. It's a soft, dark vanilla. And it works as a great backdrop. But what's the fucking beauty in that fragrance is this cardamom is just unreal. It's like really deep, smoky cardamom. And it's just, it's so good. It's like every good facet of cardamom is in there. It's like deep, it's smoky, but it's got this kind of fruitiness to it as well, almost. Like it's just fucking great. I remember I did a review and I kind of described it in that everyone thinks of it as a vanilla fragrance, but you've got to look, like when you look at a landscape painting, right? Like the sky is great. It's really well done, but it's not really the focus. The focus is like the house in the foreground or the people or whatever. And it's like the vanilla is the sky because it's done really well, but it's not really the focus. The focus is that foreground, that like the cardamom and the complexity to it. I think it's a fucking genius fragrance, but it is quite simple.
I feel like I need to revisit that one. I mean, my recollection of it, and it's only a brief recollection, is that it was just a big sort of thick vanilla, so that you've just painted a very elegant picture of it, and I like cardamom fragrance, so I clearly need to revisit that one.
The more I wear it, the less I even to the point now where I think if I want to wear a vanilla, I probably wouldn't even look at it. I don't even feel like it's much of a vanilla fragrance to me.
Really?
I mean, it's weird because it clearly is, but it's just for me personally. That's just not what it's about.
Yeah.
Like I just don't really pay attention to the vanilla. Almost, it's like I say, it's there as a backdrop, but it's that
nice.
Cardamom's man.
I like it. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. Well, the other one you just mentioned was Crepuscule. What Dame?
Does that Dame? Yeah.
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 Nice.
I'll have to send you some of that because I think
awesome.
I'm sure you'd like it.
Cool.
Or you might not. You might just think it's horrid. But
I might think it's horrid, but that's okay. That's perfume, innit? That's how this shit works. What else, Ben? That's two.
Last one. Yeah, so the last one, which I suppose could be a disappointment, it could be a great thing, or it could just be a thing, was Strangers, Burning Ben.
Oh!
Burning Ben?
Yes.
Burning Ben. Burning Ben. That's some sort of film reference, isn't it?
Korean film, yeah. And the main character is named Ben, I think. And it's something. It's
something happened here. I don't know what it was. But
so what really interested me about it was that it's coffee and plum, big time, right?
Nice.
And when I first started making perfume, one of the very first like full perfume that I tried to make, like after dabbling for a few months, was a coffee and plum thing, and I realised that how fucking hard it is to use both those materials and then both together, because it's just almost impossible not to use coffee and not make it turn into like a mud. It's such a dirty material. It turns to mud almost instantly, like literally like dirt mud. It's
nice.
It's so hard. It's
Everyone
almost
likes
like when you're
mud.
mixing paint, and like if you mix in paint, it just turns brown instantly, and it's just so hard it just turns everything brown that it touches. It's so hard to use in a perfume. So that always interested me, and plum I always find interesting in perfumes because it's quite a big, heavy thing, isn't it? It's usually sort of dominates quite like quickly. But yeah, I really like this. But I think there's a review of it on Fragrantica, right? And I normally don't go for those sort of reviews where, whenever I see someone write a review and they start sort of quote unquote like painting a picture, right? I instantly just skip it because I'm not interested, because most of the time it's an excuse for someone. Well, it's an excuse for someone with poor like creative writing abilities to start waxing lyrical, and like you end up like that fucking knob on Instagram who's just regurgitating a thesaurus and stroking his own ego whilst he's at it.
Who's that? Mr. Zayas.
Yeah. But this one, I'm going to read it, right, because it's beautiful. Now, I think I have to sort of preface this by saying there is not a single piece of punctuation in this review.
Oh no, I hate badly punctuated writing.
But this is wonderful, right? This is a wonderful review. So it's written by someone called Edernick.
Edernick.
Yes, Edernick. And it says, you crash your car into a birch tree and spill scalding coffee all over your crutch, and you step out of the car into the dark of the woods and a clump of hay is on fire in front of you, and you're not sure if it was started by the car wreck or was pre-existent, and you try to put out the fire by throwing your leather jacket over it, and the half-eaten 85% cocoa chocolate bar you left in the pocket starts melting, and the nearly empty pack of stale cigarettes in the other pocket starts to burn, and you smack the jacket against the ground until it extinguishes, and you manage to pull one of the lit cigarettes out and start smoking it, and you burn your fingers, but you also just wrecked your car, so you're not that concerned, and you put your fucked up leather jacket back on, and it's so warm, and you're back, and you lick melted chocolate off your fingers, and you decide to crawl up the side of the hill you drove off of, and you look back over your shoulder and see the little hay fire is still burning, and you make it to the top of the hill and onto the pavement, and you switch on a tiny keychain flashlight to inspect the tyre marks you left on the road, and you touch them and they're still warm.
Wow.
That is some fucking Hemingway shit, isn't it? That is incredible.
That is how you write a perfume review. Not a single fucking note or like, hey, it starts with this olfactory explosion of great big fucking bullshit.
Nothing's mingling and melding.
Oh yeah, nothing igniting your senses.
It's just gorgeous. I love that review.
That is fantastic.
Sort of
that is fantastic.
Hemingway-esque craziness.
Although,
but it's pretty much on point as well.
it sounds brilliant. Can we also, though, just take a moment to fucking pity anyone who actually does ignite the senses in any sort of perfume review? Like, oh, are you all right? Have your senses been ignited? Oh.
By a masterpiece.
By a masterpiece.
Enchanting, captivating. Get fucked. I fucking hate these people. Anyway, sorry. The mask slipped there for a minute.
That's okay.
Back to being nice.
From where?
Yeah. Well, that's alarming. So, I mean, did you enjoy the perfume, not just the review?
I love it. It's great. It's a complicated perfume, and I think it's really hard to wear. And it's like a bit like what I was saying earlier. 90% of the time you smell it and think, God, this is hideous. I mean, it's like chocolate, like really thick chocolate. It's tar. It's like burning wood, and it's plum and coffee. It's dirty. But then, when you... Most of the time you catch bits of it throughout the day and think, oh, this is too much, this is too heavy. But then you smell it and you go, oh, actually, babe, it's fucking great, actually, isn't it? So, yeah, I'm not really sure if I liked it or not. But it's called Burning Ben, and
I'm desperately trying to find my sample because I know that I have a sample.
Oh, it sounds amazing. And to be honest, that review is incredible. And now I'd like to go and read any other reviews that person has written.
Yeah, totally.
That sounds great. Okay. Anything else you want to mention, Ben?
No, they're my three.
Okay.
For the
in sort of, I guess, in diametric opposite to Ben, I want to go with a few simple things. And before I tell you what this perfume is called, I want you to listen to this olfactory pyramid and tell me whether you think this is my kind of jam. Fuck me. The notes are... I feel sick just reading this. Candied pear, sweet violet, bubblegum, white caramel, rock sugar and vanilla cream.
Oh my God. That is so not your jam. None of us think, that's nobody's jam for us. Not for us. Someone out there, but not us.
Ben, you look confused.
I just feel like I'd recognise that. Nope.
Well, only because I did a post about it. It is a perfume called Vanilla Candy Rock Sugar 42 by a brand called Kayali, who basically make inexpensive, straightforward perfumes. They actually do have some really good oud ones. They do an oud range, which are actually very, very enjoyable. But, I mean, this one was like, I mean, I'm pretty sure this is what caused the crack in my tooth, this perfume. It's like, this is so fucking sweet. It's likely to fucking trigger diabetic reactions in people. It's unbelievable. Just
on the Fragrantica page for it, there is actually on the note pyramid for there, it actually has jelly bean.
Oh, jelly bean as well. I must have missed out jelly bean. Yeah. God. They sent this
violently pink bottle.
It is. They sent it to me for review, and I'm like, dude, like, I am a 48-year-old overweight Mancunian.
You're not overweight. Darling.
Thank you for saying.
Is this one your daughter liked?
The daughter's requisitioned that one, I think. They like the fruity ones though that I've been sent previously by the brand. And the thing is, the brand's target market are, I think, young girls.
They're very influencer-led brands. It's very TikTok heavy.
But I mean, I'm not a big fan of the influencer label, but if indeed I do have any influence, I'm pretty confident it's not with fucking teen girls. My average a subscriber, follower, whatever on Instagram is basically male in their 40s into perfumes, same as me, kind of thing. It's definitely not. A load of teen girls. But that said, my teen girls did appreciate it. So, it was pleasant enough, I guess. Simple and sledgehammery, but the sweetest perfume I've ever fucking tried. And I would strongly not recommend it Well, I can't.
I thought you were going to spring a switcheroo and be like, but I loved it.
But I didn't love it. I hated it really. I mean, it was, it was exactly as the notes describe. I mean, in that sense, it's straightforward. But
do you spray these things on your skin when you first try them, or do you always do a card first?
Do you know what? Usually I do actually just spray them on my arm, even if I know I'm going to hate it, because I feel like I at least owe it to the brand to fucking try that, but there was no way. I mean, more often than not, I would wear the perfume properly and then, sort of inhabit it for at least a few hours till I've made a decision. But in this case, one spray on the arm was more than enough to tell me that this was not the perfume for me. But I mean, if indeed you do want some sort of diabetic coma style perfume, then that's the one. Another one which I want to mention is one that I wore today. Actually, I wore to the gym, and it is Creed Neroli Sauvage. I don't know if you know it.
I don't.
So I mean, I know Creed has all the fucking, Creed bullshit that goes with it and stuff. But Neroli Sauvage is one of those ones that I think is always overlooked by the fanboys. It's not a compliment magnet, and it's not. I don't think there's any lore around it, like this was Cary Grant's fucking favourite perfume, or commissioned by the fucking, Ethelred the Unready or whatever. It's just bullshit. This house has been in existence since before Christ or something. But it's none of those. It just sort of is a very straightforward Neroli, and I find Neroli a little bit weird. So
it's not my favourite. I find it a really tough note to get right for me.
Agreed. And I think sometimes it can be very floral, almost kind of indolic. I know it's not an
I find
indolic.
it cloying sometimes too.
Yeah. I find it actually can smell dirty. I mean, for what is meant to be essentially a note all about cleanliness and sort of freshness, it is a note that for me often smells dirty. But Creed Neroli Sauvage does not. It smells absolutely magnificent. It is just a clean, fresh, fruity, understated perfume with a sort of, I guess it's like some sort of cedary type base, in the dry down. It's dead straightforward. It's really enjoyable and perfect sort of hot weather or gym sort of perfume. It doesn't last very long, and nor do you need it to. It's almost like one of those. I think it was MFK did like a range where, one was for the morning and one was for the afternoon kind of thing. It's almost like a breakfast perfume. If you were staying at a nice hotel, you'd wear this perfume to breakfast, right? And then by the time you got back up to your room after breakfast, the smell probably would have broadly gone and you'd put something else on. It's ideal for going to the gym for a couple of hours. But it's not... and I suppose that's why it doesn't get much love, because...
It's not a beast. But
it's not a beast.
I love that kind of perfume, particularly, I mean, not to foreshadow the second half, but as we head towards warmer weather, I get a great deal of pleasure from getting up in the morning, putting something very citrusy or fresh on, and it not lasting. I like that it doesn't last, because then I can choose something because there's a difference in the heat as well. I think when you get that sort of like bright morning quality, and then as the day heats up, you'd need something else maybe. And I love being able to change a perfume halfway through the day or for the evening. It's like I don't want something that's scratching at my head forever.
I've got to the stage now where I just, even if I can still smell the perfume, I'll just spray the next one. Like, fuck it. Just apply more, it'll be fine. So Neroli Sauvage was my other simple one, and the last one I want to just mention, right? Because I've had my eye on these for the longest time. So Ignacio Figueras, I think that's how you pronounce it. Ignacio Figueras is a polo player, like, horsey, clippity-cloppity sort of polo. Well, as distinct from, I don't know, water polo or something, but...
You'd drown your donkey if you played that.
I used to play water polo. There was no donkeys involved. So, anyway...
You can play water polo on a horse.
No, you don't. I mean, it'd have to be quite shallow water.
It really would.
No. Yeah. So anyway, he's a polo player, and he released a line of perfumes in these rather fancy schmancy looking bottles, which have like a horse's what do you call it? A horse's shoe. Horseshoe. Oh, hoof. The hoof. And they're really fancy looking, and they were in Harrods for like 240, maybe 260 quid or something, and I really wanted to try them, and I think the line must have been discontinued because they are now being cleared by an online store called The Beauty Shop for like 28 quid.
What?
Yeah, it's mental, isn't it? So I think they've probably all sold by now, but I bought like all 6 of them from the range because they were like 20 quid each, and you just keep adding them, and by the end you go, oh yeah, 180 quid, that's actually a material chunk of money. Well, fuck it, there's 6 bottles of perfume. So 3 of them have turned up so far, and as far as I can tell, they're basically clones. It's like, it's slightly disappointing, but for 28 quid they look the absolute fucking business, so I almost don't care. And the one I wore the other day, I had to go for a scan on my knee because my knee is an absolute cunt. So I had to go get a scan, MRI on my knee, and I wore Jaipur. by Ignacio Figueras. And Jaipur is a very, very straightforward, kind of medium dry, medium damp, halfway between the two type patchouli, with just a little hint of cinnamon. I'm sure it's a clone of something. Christian, I think, has suggested maybe it's the Guerlain Lidge. Lance, I don't even know what Lidge stands for anymore. But it's actually really rather nice. None of that chocolatey sort of stuff that I remember with Lidge, but it is very, very nice, very simple. And, the presentation is fucking mental. And for 28 quid, I was like, yeah, I'll have that. I'll have a bit of that. So, pleasantly surprised by Ignacio Figueras. Although I have to tell you, if I'd have paid 280 quid for those blind, I would have been fucking crying into my bloody pillow about that. I mean, 28 quid, yes, absolutely. I would even pay as much as £50 for each of these, I think. £280, it's a no fucking way situation.
Did you get Aspen?
I did.
Because that one sounds nice for looking at the notes for our listing sort of thing.
Aspen
orange, pepper, verbena, geranium, lavender, juniper.
Yeah, I mean, it smells like Coach for men.
Okay.
Yeah, and it smells like every other blue fragrance you've ever smelled. I mean, Fliss, this would be the ultimate passion killer for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, it's very generic. It's got that sort of Abercrombie Fitch, Fierce, Bleu de Chanel, fucking Coach, all of those sort of perfumes. Every one of those, it could pass for any one of them. If you put a little moustache on it and sort of told it to declare it was Bleu de Chanel at the fucking nightclub door, they'd probably let it in. But it's okay. It's okay.
For 28 quid.
For 28 quid. And I just think they look amazing. And having had some experience, obviously, with producing fucking perfume, I can tell you, they spent a lot of fucking money getting this bottle and this cap right. I mean, it is a classy fucking setup. So well done to them.
That's the story of a lot of stuff in Harrods, though, isn't it? Like, they spent a lot of money getting the bottle right.
Yeah.
The contents, however.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a not unfair criticism. Although there was a very good one. So there's a brand called Aqualis, and the chap who owns it is a guy called Stain, and he works in Harrods. I think he works up there on the 6th floor, or maybe he was just wandering around. I've
sure
run
he
into
does.
him a couple
I seem
of times.
to remember this story. Yeah, he does.
Tall, handsome South African guy, and his bottles hitherto have been quite straightforward, very sort of plain little kind of. I don't know, not even
stock bottles or...
Yes, stock bottles with a slightly customised cap. They are unremarkable. But he's done a new range where the bottles are just these kind of insane kind of almost like architectural clamshell type structure. I've put up there's a review.
You got
of
one, didn't you? It's like white on one side,
that's
and
right,
glass on the other. Yeah,
amazing looking, and it's it's a solid perfume. It's very similar, I thought, to Fall Into Stars. It's like Chris Maurice does Fall Into Stars, but it's a fucking good perfume, and the bottle's fucking amazing. But yeah, you're right. That is the story of a lot of shit in Harrods, I think. Quality packaging and marketing. Never mind what the actual perfume smells like. But in the case of these Figueras ones, they all smell pleasant enough. They would all sort of... Each of these would make a nice gift for someone. I think 280 quid is a nonsense, but... at £28, it's a bargain. So I think fair pricing is probably somewhere in the middle. Anywho. Right, so I thought I thought without James, we would almost be sort of lost without the full 14. But it turns out we can still talk fucking shit for ages. So why don't we grab some sort of drink? I was going to think of a posh word for drink and I couldn't.
Beverage.
So, like, beverage. Grab a bevy and we will be back in 5 minutes for the second part of Les Oderants. Speak to you then. Bye. Hello and welcome back to part 2 of Les Oderants. This week, the three of us, again, for anyone who just skipped part 1, unfortunately James can't make it this week. I don't know why you'd skip part 1. What the fuck were you thinking?
Why would anybody do that?
So ridiculous.
Nobody does that. Nobody fast forwards this shit.
Yeah.
They're all in it for the long form.
Yeah, I bet. all four of them. This week, the three of us are talking about summer fragrances. You know, the weather is slightly less shit. I mean, in Manchester, it's basically raining less. I was going to go... fuck it. I was going to say something mildly political, which is that Rishi Sunak will shortly be along to gaslight us into fucking believing that summer is here. But, summer is most emphatically not here.
The summer's working. Just need to... The bulb of summer. Fine.
Stick with the season. Stick with the season. The seasons are working. The summer, summer. So, what summer fragrances? And normally everyone goes, "Ooh, summer! It's like fucking just a bunch of citrus freshies and such. It's time to break out the freshies." And so we all had to come up with was it 5? 5 summer perfumes.
Did he even? I don't think you even gave us a number because my list is about 15.
Oh right, okay, well. I've come up with 5.
But they are categorised. We can do categorise them.
What do you mean categorised? They're summer. That's what you've got subcategories.
Well, there's Freshie, there's Soliflor, there's more than Soliflor, there's Fig, and then there's Musk.
Fuck! I forgot about figs.
You can't forget figs in the summer.
Well, I can. Here's why. I'm going to make them a spring thing. Figs are for spring.
Spring, they get juicy and ripe in August, and all the juice just drips everywhere. You can't eat them in spring.
I think you will find I can do whatever the fuck I like, and
yeah, I know you can. I'm just putting out a counter argument.
No, I should have. Bollocks! I should have come up with some figs. I'll have a think about figs in the
you can just say AIDS to Venusis. We all know that's what you say.
That is
not far off, Fliss.
Yeah, no, it's not bad. It's not bad. Figginess. I quite like it. Anyway, fuck it. We'll get into figs, I'm sure. I've come up with 5 anyway. Glad that you've come up with more. Ben, have you been contrary and come up with like 1 or something?
8.
8?
Yeah.
8?
Yeah.
Okay.
No one told me that there was 5, but luckily there are figs included. So I'm
okay.
Nailed that one.
Okay, good. Right, well, this is the last time I fucking try and organise a podcast. No one listens to me anymore. I'm going to stamp my little feet. No.
I think the most important sentence above that sentence was anymore.
Wow. Oh, wow. This has just become a very hurtful experience, you know. I don't really understand.
No, I'm teasing you because I think Ben just said the other season that it's like your dad and you've just got these sticky-fingered children running around. My son, my eldest, had one of his best friends over today, and I spent the entire day going, "Stop running! Calm down! Stop running! Don't tease the dog! Stop teasing Felix! Leave him alone! Stop running in the house! Put the ball down! Stop running in the house!" And I feel that that's how you feel with us.
Yes, it is. It is. You and your 15 and your 8 and your other... If James was here, he'd have gone, I haven't even thought of any. And but I'll now immediately dream up 60.
Yeah.
Okay, but I think there is a sort of rather glib perception that citruses, freshies are all about the summer. And then I guess there's the other school of thought, which is that fuck it, I'll just wear whatever I want, whenever I want. Who gives a shit? And I will quite cheerfully wear Interlude, 53 in the blazing heat. Really, I'm not really that arsed, but generally I do tend towards the fresher stuff in the summer. So I've got a list of 5, and I think we probably do have to get the inevitable citrusy stuff out of the way. Yeah. So. Fliss, given you've got so many in your fucking list, why don't you throw us your citrusy ones?
I mean, I'm going to be really, really boring and say that for summer citruses, I lean heavily on the Goutal colognes. I lean heavily on Eau de Sud, Nuit de Hadrienne, and there's also Nuit Étoilée. Eau de Sud is like Eau de Hadrienne, which is the original perfume that Goutal made, but it's more limey than lemony, and it's got a beautiful oak moss base. And if you can get yourself an older bottle before some of the IFA regulations happened, then the oak moss in it is just delightful. Doesn't last a long time. You have to be prepared. You're going to be spraying it every 2 hours if you want to be wearing it all day. But the lime hit and then this gorgeous musty oak moss just makes me incredibly happy. And Nuit de Hadrienne, which is another Eau de Hadrienne flanker, is orange and orange blossom and oak moss. And both of them have a brightness in the top, but a lovely sort of dusty-ish feel in the dry down, which I think is very, very classy. Nuit Étoilée is not citrusy per se, but it's very piney and minty. And again, it's just lovely. The other citrus that I wear is a Shalimar flanker, which is Eau de Shalimar, which is a limey, vanilla, bright limey and vanilla thing. And those are really the citruses that I wear.
I've never tried that. Did you say Eau de Shalimar?
Eau de Shalimar was a flanker that was only released for a limited period, and it's now ridiculously expensive.
Oh, really?
But it's
I really like the bottle.
Like I said, it's lime, but then it's creamsicle. It's very, very creamy and vanilla-y, and it smells like a cream ice cream, like a lime ice cream, basically. And yeah, there's no leather. There's none of that sort of like leathery backbone in it at all. But does it smell at all like Shalimar? Because I just don't see Shalimar as being citrusy and light and at all. There's the Guerlinard and the DNA of the Shalimar. Shalimar's got all that bergamot in the top. I would say if you've never smelt Shalimar before, you wouldn't necessarily put them both together. And if you smelt this and you aren't a Shalimar fan, you probably wouldn't link them up. So I think some of the Shalimar flankers are a bit cheating. But as a Guerlain, a lovely, creamy... The thing I like about it is that it's not just sharp. There's the vanilla in it makes it incredibly soft and creamy. And yeah, those are my go-to citrus freshies. Okay. None of them are modern, and I'm sorry. No, that's all right. That's all right. Ben, do you have citrusy, fresh stuff? I mean, you do have some citrus perfumes, I know.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't. So, like, just a quick nod to the Hermes Jardin collection, because I mean that's always there. But I didn't get it out for this because why? We've talked about it before, and yeah. But just a quick shout. But this one, right? This is probably I suppose, the real. I mean, if we think real citrus heavy perfume, this is probably the one that I wear the most, and you're going to hate it. And I almost feel ashamed. In fact, it's not almost. I feel ashamed. You are ashamed. I am ashamed. I can see the shame on your face. It's an embarrassment. It's CK something. No, that's better than that. This. Did you just? What the fuck? It's a Mancera. Mancera, Cedric Bois. Cedric Boiset. Apparently. Cedric Boiset. Yeah. Or if you're a cunt, Cedi B.
Sedi B.
Sedi B.
It's Bobby Mancera's Sedi B. That's what
Exactly. I can't believe you own a Mancera. Why did I not know this?
I love this. I think
Who the
it's
fuck
great.
are you, and what have you done with Ben?
I really like this. It's like nuclear neon lemons, right? And it's just over the top. And then there's this kind of quite sicky, vanilla-y, sort of musky base. And it's just not very nice. And it lasts an age. But...
Boom! Do we get a point every time Ben goes, I've got it and I love it, and it's just not very nice.
But
Ting, ting,
the thing is you break it down into those parts and it doesn't smell nice, but in the air around you, it does smell great. You know, it's one of the things like, as long as you don't give it too much attention, it's brilliant, but just don't look too close.
As long as you don't actually smell
just
it.
don't get too close. And it's great. Yeah. It's one of those ones where all day you feel like lively and this bright neonness. I love it. But just don't get too close because it will smell like sick.
Yeah, it's like one of those dogs you shouldn't look directly in the eye or something.
Exactly.
Just don't. I mean, he's lovely. He's lovely. Just don't stare at him. It's awful, Ben. I have no idea what you're talking about. It is a terrible, terrible abomination of a perfume. It is. It's basically like a Ventus Light mixed with vanilla and just given the old Bobby Mancera fucking bullshit. It is a fucking epically bad perfume. I
wish people could see his face though. He's grinning to me.
So happy.
How happy
because
he
I know
is.
it's horrible. It's the sort of perfume where you'll be walking down the street and you'll smell someone on the other side of the road wearing it, and you'll, before you even look, you know there's a pop collar involved. And
exactly. Probably double collars. Yeah. That oh god, what is that fucking brand?
Maybe those chino shorts in maybe like a slightly faded red colour.
No. Double Hackett.
And boat shoes.
Double popped Hackett shirt, boat shoes, yeah, and chino shorts, yeah. Yes, you'll be walking down the street and you'll smell it and you'll go, that guy must be an absolute cunt.
I'm going to wear it with, as you mentioned in chino shorts, I bought these yesterday. I'm going to wear Sedi B with these shorts. Look at these bad boys.
Oh, Dickies.
Like mint green Dickie shorts. Look at those.
Yeah,
right?
nice.
Beautiful.
Lovely.
Pair of boat shoes.
Yeah. Pop your collar, son. Pop your collar, son. You got to walk down the street like that. Give it the fucking big one.
Pop my Fred Perry on.
Yeah, lovely. It's terrible. Why? Why, Ben?
Bad.
Why?
I don't know. It is bad. But on those like really hot days, it's just like I quite like wearing.
Can I ask? Is it a screw top one? Is it a vintage?
Screw top one? Yeah.
Vintage. Please, can someone come round and punch me in the fucking face
see how much
for
I've
saying
actually...
vintage?
Well, you've just used the word vintage next to Mancera, so I am right on a train in a minute.
It is a desirable screw top one, yes.
Who the fuck are you? I mean, really?
It's got a little pouch.
Oh,
you got your pouch.
oh, he's got a little pouch.
Pouchy pouch.
Yeah. Anyway,
This is
on.
moving very swiftly on. What else have you got in the citrus?
Like I say.
There's the one you've got that I went and bought a bottle of, which is very nice. Which is the one of the Guerlain, the cool one. That's a nice
cologne, L'Homme Cologne. Yeah,
that's it.
That's really good. Yeah, that's another one. I didn't pick off the shelf because we talked about it before, so I was just it, but I saw it and was like, I'll be wearing a lot of that. Yeah, that is good. That one. Yeah.
Any other citruses on your list?
Not really. Nothing that's like citrus heavy. There's citrus involved, but that's about the one.
Well, I'm looking at my 5. So I made 2 lists. I made a list of 5, and then I made a list of honourable mentions.
So you have got more than 5.
No, I've got 5 and a list of honourable mentions. You obviously weren't listening.
Okay.
Don't fucking start with me, sunshine. So on my list of 5, I'm such a cunt. I'm going to hell.
You really are.
On my list of 5, I've got 2 that I would classify as citrusy, very citrusy. One is Creed Royal Mayfair, which is lime. and gin and eucalyptus, and it is fresh and it is cooling, and it is one of the most elegant perfumes I've ever come across. You know, if Sedi B is bowling down the street with a popped collar and your fucking boat shoes, then Royal Mayfair is wearing an exquisite fucking suit with a pristine white shirt to a business meeting.
A little Panama.
Yes, to a business meeting on a boat. You know, it is pure fucking class. I love that perfume, Royal Mayfair, and I've got a big old bottle of Royal Mayfair, and I've got a bottle of its predecessor, which was Royal Windsor, and they are more or less indistinguishable. But I've got the Windsor because I'm a fanboy for that perfume. And honestly, I think if I had to have one perfume that was just the summer, it would be it. That is the best summer perfume ever, I think. My second citrusy one is Louis Vuitton Imagination, which I do really like, and I like quite a lot of the Louis Vuitton ones, but it is a little bit too tenacious. I mean, it smells great, but it is like being fucking slowly, you know, asphyxiated by someone you love. You know, it's like sounds a bit weird. Little insight into my brain there. Moving swiftly on. Let's just never mention that again, I think. But it's a great perfume. It smells lovely. Everyone fucking loves it. It's like, you know, if you're into compliments, fucking just wear that and be done with it. It does smell great, but it does just go on and on and on. And it can be a little bit boring, you know, after a while. But it is excellent. I do need to just sort of rattle off a few others because so many of my also rans, my honourable mentions, were citrusy. So I don't have more than 5. I've only got 5 in my list, Fliss.
No, I'm not going to count them. I'm not going to count them. I'm not counting them at all.
All right, here we go. Amarud White Hinoki.
Yeah, I've got that.
Have you?
In my list, yeah.
Oh, well, you don't think that's a citrusy? I guess it's orangey for me. It's very gingery.
And it's very woody and gingery. I wouldn't class it as a citrus heavy. That's the thing. Like it's citrusy,
interesting. It's such a fucking good perfume. Yeah. Just amazing. Love that one. And so sort of upbeat and just it's a happy perfume, I think.
Quite powdery for something so like bright and alive as well. Like I tend to sort of feel like a lot of powdery perfumes are a bit more morose, you know. But this is like it's vibrant, it's exciting, but it is powdery.
To me, the reason I say it's citrus is because it's got this very orangey sort of aspect to it for me, which I really enjoy. Other citrus, I put Perfumum Roma Aquaviva, which basically is like a really good, realistic lemon interpretation. Little bit fucking, you know, little bit straightforward. You know, if you want to smell like lemons, though, and not like fucking, you know, bog cleaner, but actual lemons, you know, in a nice kind of way. Yeah. Then that's a perfect pick. Rogers Burlington 1819, I think it is called, which is very grapefruity. I think grapefruit is a great note on the whole, and it's also got like just a.
Oh no, grapefruit is a grapefruit.
It's got like just a little hint of something skanky in there as well. There's like so it's this really clean, almost kind of shimmery, sort of fresh grapefruit thing, and it's just got like a little fucking bit of cumin or something in there, giving it just the slightest bit of stank that just knocks it slightly off kilter. And I think it's so expertly done, and it's like if it didn't have that, it would be almost forgettable, you know, because it just smells nice. You know, it's nice, it's all nice, but it's got something just a little bit gives it a little twist, and suddenly you've got something which is absolutely brilliant.
Can I just say another good grapefruit for the ladies is Jour de Hermès.
Jour de Hermès.
Jour de Hermès. And it's, lovely grapefruit top and then a very, very soft white flower dry down. But that's another really great one for like just spraying on, knowing it's only going to last a couple of hours, but you smell classy as all hell for as long as it lasts.
As they say in Manchester, classy as balls. I don't think they say that. They should, though. They definitely should.
They should.
Neroli Sauvage, I already mentioned that. I just wrote Clive Christian's, because Clive Christian's have some great citrusy sort of things. The 150th collection recently, very, very good things. What else? I wrote Fragrance du Bois, one of those brands that I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with. Some absolute bangers, some screamers in there, and some meh. But Oud Vert is a very green, citrusy sort of thing. It's lovely. Those are some of mine from my also rans. I've got some other also rans, but I'm very interested what your next category is, Fliss. Because, we've done citrus, which is, I guess, the obvious one.
It's the very obvious. My next go-to in the summer is what I call kind of like watery florals. So, I know everyone knows I'm like a mad tuberose fan and I love big, thick white florals, but there's some sort of more aquatic feeling, lighter florals that I do really heavily lean on in the summer. And Healy just do a great line in this. And Hippie Rose is a gorgeous patchouli rose. It's really in the line of Gris Dior. It smells like Gris Dior, but like if Gris Dior is your classy mum with a Hermes handbag, Hippie Rose is me. The equivalent when I'm all, on the school run or whatever. And it smells like a really easy wear. The patchouli makes it feel a little bit more relaxed and less buttoned up than Dior Gris, but it's just a fresh delight when it comes to roses without it being a rose soliflor. Whenever I wear it, people go, "Oh my God, you smell amazing. What's that?" And it's the patchouli is not so patchouli that it's as hippie as it says on the bottle, but it is definitely a rose patchouli, and I wore the shit out of it last summer. Any day that I didn't know what to wear, I put that on and I felt great. And I was doing a little decant yesterday because my handbag had run out of perfume, and I made a little decant of it to put on it. And smelling it again for the first time this year, I just thought, fuck me, this is a good one. It's a really good staple. And Healy also do another lovely one called Ophelia, which is an aquatic white flower it's meant to be water lilies. I don't know what a water lily smells like, but there's a very watery, bright lightness to it, and it's just another really delicious, easy wear. And Figment Woman as well, I wear a lot of in the summer, and it's a very clean, soapy white flower. But there's a hint, as you were saying earlier, Dan, about the dirtiness. There's a bit of bog water in the bottom of Figment Woman. It's
Ben comes alive.
It smells like it smells like if you were having a picnic by a lake with water lilies or whatever, but you're just a little bit too close to where all the bulrushes are, and every so often you get that sort of like drift of that, not quite geosmin, but just that dankness, and that dankness really just makes it not fresh. But again, every time I wear it, people go, "Oh my God, you smell amazing." That soapy top to it. It smells like really posh, refined Bridgerton soap is what I call it. But then it's got that bog water. Bridgerton soap, but it's got that bog water in the bottom, and it's just a really solid, I'm very put together without being overbearing summer frag for me. And I've got 2.5 bottles.
Wow.
Did you ever smell the original Zoologist Dragonfly?
No.
Because that was peony, water lily, and that had a little bit of that reedy bog water in there as well. I loved it. They discontinued it because, of course, they did, because they discontinued anything good they ever made. But Yeah, it was great. It was really good, and that I say was sort of heavy lily, water, very watery fragrance. Really nice. That was a very like watery.
I think
floral
all of those
with
sort of like the summer florals that I lean really heavily on have got a touch of dirt to them. I don't wear those very pure roses or pure soliflores that much anymore. I do like a little something else in the bottom of anything, just to give it a bit of interest. Yeah. The other, talking about zoologist, actually, the other floral that I do wear that, and I'm going to contradict myself, doesn't have anything dirty in the bottom, is Nightingale by Zoologist, which is all cherry blossoms and very creamy, almost Nivea-like feel, roses and cherries, and just feels like a big pink fluff, but the Nivea-ness, it's almost like a thicker cream, just holds it down. And again, I get a lot of people asking me what that is. They go, "Oh my God, you smell amazing." I quite like that when you bloom in the heat. You feel like a flower blooming in the heat. Smell my petals.
Probably pass on that, but thank you. Nice. I mean, I don't tend to wear a lot of florals anyway, but certainly most of the florally things I've got would not be things that I would think of as being summer. Spring at best, but probably more autumnal actually. Ben, have you got any florals hiding in your list?
I got one, and I think it might. Well, do you know what? I'm just going to throw it out there. People are going to say that's not a summer fragrance, and I'm going to say,
well, summer fragrance is whatever you say it is.
But it's Serge Lutens Baptême de Feu.
Oh wow!
This is a summer fragrance, right? It smells like gingerbread. There's this like metallic-y, irony, bloody kind of vibe to it, and like really sort of the pissy florals. And to me, this is like summer evening. Like you wouldn't say summer daytime, right? But summer evening where you go out and it's like. It's been like 40 degrees all day, but now the sun's going down. Everything's still a bit sticky, a bit sweaty, a bit kind of. This is absolutely for that. It's filthy as fuck. This is the fragrance probably actually that when I smelt this, this was the one that turned me on to the idea that like piss is just wonderful. It's just.
I mean, taken out of context, Ben, that might sound a bit weird.
I mean, even in context, it's not that great.
True.
But it's such a pissy floral, but it's also just so like carnal and like it's brilliant. It's so good. There is a very unsettling like metallic thing, which I think is supposed to be blood, because I've got a feeling it's something to do with mass shootings.
Oh God!
Which is quite strange. Carnivals and mass shootings somehow together. I'm not sure, but it's
two of my least favourite things actually.
Oddly,
yeah, weird.
But it's brilliant. I mean, the colour of it's just magic. Look at that. It's like it's kind of dark red. It's just great. I love it. And the gingerbread is actually all like it's sort of like a spiced ginger. It is a sort of more gingerbread than like fresh ginger. It's it has some sort of almost like cakey feel to it, but that's completely buried under this like it's a sort of very thick jasmine-y floral type thing that just stinks.
It's really interesting that you're saying that, because I'm actually looking at my list now and I don't have any of those big thick summer night florals.
Wow.
And then I hadn't thought of that as a category. So
well,
That's Baptême de Feu.
Nice. I've got a summer night perfume for you. Somewhat stupidly, I'm selecting this as a summer night perfume, even though the name would suggest it's a morning perfume. It's called The Dawn by Frederic Malle. It is a Carlos Benaim. I don't know how you pronounce that. But it is just the most fucking amazing incense perfume. And I don't really wear a lot of incense stuff, but this one, to me, it literally, it defines the term meditative for me. I smell this and I could literally go into a trance. It's fucking incredible. It's just got this kind of like sort of fireball kind of it's called the Dawn, and it's brilliantly named because it's you could sort of imagine it as kind of the scent of the rising sun. It is fucking phenomenal. I just cannot tell you how fucking brilliant this perfume is. But I think it's an evening perfume, weirdly. But I would wear that very cheerfully on a summer's evening, because it's not like super heavy or sticky. It's almost it's a stupid fucking word, but it's sort of transcendental. It is like it is genuinely spiritually uplifting as a perfume. I think it's and I use this word very guardedly, but I think it is a masterpiece. It is utterly fucking stunning.
Wow.
So that makes my summer list. That makes one of my 5 is an incense perfume, which I didn't expect to be writing down, but there you go. Did you have any incense perfumes on your list?
I did, actually.
Really?
I put down in Encens Flamboyant. Again, it's a Goutal.
Jesus Christ.
But it's a very, very clean.
So when I do these lists, in my head, there's like an unwritten rule that you cannot just fucking keep throwing more and more from the same house in there, right? Because that would be silly. That would just be a nonsense. And I force myself.
No, because somebody wrote me to me recently and went, "Thank you so much for introducing me to Goutal."
Is that what they wrote? Oh yeah, fucking Goutal.
I just made a list of things I'm actually going to wear.
Goutal on your fucking bike, son.
No, and that was, I wasn't going to mention it, but when you said, "Did you have an incense?" I was like, "Well, I did actually." So, yada yada yada. It's very, very clean and slightly soapy and bright, and there's no heaviness to it.
So
at all.
I completely missed the soapy category off. Sorry, Ben. Did you have any incense ones?
Not on my list, but I would probably, not even any probably about it. Mas Milano Mandala will get a lot of wear, but I didn't put it because I didn't like you say, like I didn't really think like, oh yeah, didn't put 2 and 2 together with like summer and incense, but Amanda, I will wear that, and it is, now I think about it, quite a bright fragrance. Yeah,
there's something about a dry, bright, clean incense.
Yeah.
Like in the winter, I get very sort of like those deep, heavy, honey, chocolatey fragrances, and I love them. But those dry, bright ones in the summer do it for me, particularly in the evenings as well.
I would love you guys. I would love you guys to smell this. The Dawn. I will squeeze a little bit into a vial for you, because I think
the hideously expensive one. Like £400 or something.
Try 1,500. But I didn't pay that much for it.
You didn't pay for
no,
it.
I paid for it. I paid something like 450 or something for it. But it was worth every penny. I mean, it's fucking spectacular. Absolutely spectacular. The soapy thing, it's funny you should mention that, because I kind of completely glossed over soap. And I've had a bit of a weird thing with soapiness. And yeah, I'll share this. When the day after my dad died, I sort of didn't know what perfume to wear, because I mean, who the fuck knows what perfume to wear? And I was sort of just standing there going, oh, why would I want to wear perfume? This is ridiculous. You know, I've got to go and see my mum. I don't know what to even fucking think. So I just thought, oh, yeah, no, I'll put some perfume on, because you sort of, I don't know, that's what I do. And so I just reached for Prada Infusion Dawn, because it's just like so inoffensively clean and soapy and straightforward. It's almost like not wearing a perfume. It's like, yeah, just, you know, I'll I don't want to go in mum's. Yeah, I don't want to go in mum's house like fucking stinking like some sort of like, you know, bin man. So a couple of sprays of that, and then that's created this sort of very negative association for me, obviously, for soapy perfumes. And funnily enough, you know, like Ben, you said that soapiness is sort of very I can't remember.
Reminds him of sadness.
Yeah, it's sadness. What's the word I'm searching for? I can't remember the word I'm grasping for. But yeah, it was a
melancholy.
Melancholy. That's exactly the word. Yeah. Thank you. So, and I think I now have that. But weirdly, I wore the Prada the other day, and I was fine with it. I thought, no, I'm going to force myself to do it now, because I'm sort of at the point where I can now talk a bit about my dad and think about him without just fucking turning into a complete wreck. And for a very, I mean, it's coming up to a year now, so certainly for the first few months, I could not discuss it at all. I could not have a conversation with anyone without just turning into fucking mush. And I can now. I'm in a much better place as a result. So I thought I'd try the perfume, and it was actually very pleasant. I enjoyed it, and it's
an amazing perfume.
Yeah, it is, and it didn't trigger any sort of horrible association. So that would be a good summer choice, along with another soapy.
I think all of that Prada line as well. There were excellent summer choices.
Agreed. And Santa Maria Novella Melograno.
I was about to say.
Well, I mean,
if that's not on your list, I don't know what is.
I mean, if you're going to talk about soapy perfumes, that is the fucking king, and I'm indebted to James for introducing me to that, because it is a fucking beautiful thing. Yeah. Anyway, right. So that was soapiness. Do you have soapies on yours?
I got one, which I funnily enough, I didn't put it on there because it's soapy. But since you just chuck it out as a category, I would think it's soapy. Penhaligon's Cousin Matthew.
Oh, I've not actually tried it.
It's another Penhaligon.
You do have a lot of Penhaligons, don't you?
Yeah.
He whips them out.
But this is a really nice fragrance, right? And the Penhaligons are funny because they're nothing, they're quite basic, aren't they? In a lot of ways.
And yet you have loads of them.
And yet I have loads because they do, sometimes those basic perfumes are great. And this one is a soapy verbena green thing. But it's just really nice. It's really good. It's really good. And it smells a lot like a fig one that I've got later, but sans fig. But that's fine. It makes it slightly more basic, but it's great. It's just a real, there's nothing much you can say about it. It's literally a green verbena soapy thing. But that's fine, and it's really good. It's really nice. It's really nice actually, and I do wear that. In the summer, it gets trotted out now and then. But it's not something that you hear. It's not really it's not a flashy fragrance. Do you know what I mean?
Is it Impudent Cousin Matthew? Is that it?
That's the one. Yeah, the Impudent Cousin Matthew. Yeah, and it's got a duck on the top.
Whoa, that duck's a right cunt.
Yeah.
Looking at me funny, that duck.
But it's great. Yeah. Fresh, green, soapy.
I feel like I need to go and try that one. It does sound very good. I think you'd based on your description. Yeah. I mean, it sounds safe, right? But a lot of them are
very, very safe. Yeah.
I should have added Penhagen's Lothair to my list. Do you have Lothair?
I don't have it, no, but it's nice.
That's really, again, very safe, but really very nice. Yeah, they seem to do a lot of safe but nice perfume. I am surprised at how many of them you have, but then I feel like I don't know you anymore after that whole Cedric Boisé kind of experience earlier. So,
see, the thing is, right, is when we do the podcast, right, there's a certain amount of it that's a character, right? I fit a certain role in the podcast, right? I'm not like, if you think of it as a band, you have like the drummer, the bass player, the lead guitarist or whatever. And I'm the guy that comes along with the smelly shit. Do you know what I mean? But if you actually look at my collection, it's actually a lot more well-rounded than that. It's maybe or maybe now I'm just trying my best to
maybe yeah. Good. All right, Fliss, do you have soapies?
Well, no, I've got that sort of soapy incense, but apart from that, and some of my florals were a bit soapy, but I've already mentioned it.
Okay.
So nothing obvious.
What about, because I've got two, well, what about sort of saline sort of, there he is.
Look at his little head.
There he is. Tell me you've got a Strangelove saline fragrance on your summer list.
Oh, I mean, I didn't bring that one out, but I have got that one.
Yeah.
Silence the Sea, fucking majestic. I bought the one that I put down actually for this. Is equally, you hate this one as well. I know you will hate this one. But I love it. Oud Mineral, Tom Ford.
Oh no, I really dislike that.
I know.
Really.
But for me, I feel like, did you know 40 Knots by Zerdrop, right? And it's meant to be Boat Club and all this. I don't think that's a load of bollocks, right? I don't think it smells anything like the sea. I don't think it smells it. But this, to me, smells like yachts at sea. It's got like hard, dark wood and sea, and it's got like, it is a bit grim. It's nowhere near Silence the Sea levels, but it is a bit grim.
But it is a bit grim.
Yeah.
But I love it. As a marine sort of fragrance, like this and Silence the Sea are my two go-to marines.
Have you ever...
Which says a lot, doesn't it?
Have you ever accidentally swallowed seawater? You know,
I used to surf. And absolutely, yeah.
So
it really burns the top of your nose, the back of your nose, right up there.
That's the experience of that perfume to me. It's like swallowed brine. I don't like that at all. I've got a far nicer one,
Go on.
which is Boadicea's Amber Sapphire, which has only a little bit sort of a saline, sort of ambergris sort of thing going on, and then I don't even know what else is in the notes list, but it's very, very, very bright, and it doesn't have like that whole kind of, salt in your face kind of overdose. It's just in the background. I love it. It's actually one of only 3 perfumes now that I have a backup bottle of. If you're interested, the other 2 are Tom Ford Japon Noir and Strange Love.
Falling Stars.
Falling Stars, yeah, exactly.
Mm.
You know, another Penhaligon's, funny enough, that's saline.
Are you getting paid?
You see, you had a go at me about Goutal, but look at him.
But Penhaligon's Blasted Heath, I've got that. I've got a little bottle of that.
Going to bust out
rare as fucking rocking horse shit these days. And that is literal, like, thumbs up. That is literally salt water in a bottle. There's nothing to it. There's nothing else to it but salt water. It's a strange perfume. You can tell it's exactly why it was discontinued, because it's fucking weird.
Yeah,
but that is an assault of like just salt water.
Yeah,
I can't bear it. I don't have a single saline fragrance in my collection, and it's for someone who lives by the sea, someone who's actively moved to the sea and actively goes to the beach 3 times a week. Any of those saline frags and beachy frags, salty, whatever, I just not my thing.
Tucada by L'Artisan Parfumé. What about that?
That gets a lot of love.
Not from Fliss.
Nope, not.
I think the archetype for that, by the way, is another Perfume and Roma one called Aqua di Sal, which is literally, I think it just means salty water. And it smells like salty water. And on one level, you sort of smell, and I did buy a bottle because I wore a sample of it and I wore my way through it, and I decided that I'm going to bite the bullet and buy this. And as soon as I bought it, I realised it's fucking disgusting. It's brilliantly sort of creative, but it's like the Silence the Sea. It's just so oppressive and like, bleh. I mean, it lacks the multi-dimensionality of Silence the Sea. This is just very straightforward, like brine. It's I don't know. I'm sort of with you, Fliss. It's not my favourite genre, which is why the only one I've got is actually not really that salty, if I'm honest.
I don't. For someone, like I said, for someone who lives by the sea, and I love going to the beach and smelling the sea, I don't want to smell of it.
Yeah, no, I think that is perfectly
I
fair.
fucking love it. I love the sea. I love smelling like the sea. It's amazing. And that in the news segment that we sort of did, that we didn't do, there's a new Issey Miyake Sal de Issey. That's supposedly a sea salt sort of marine kelp fragrance. as well.
It's the kelpiness, it's the seaweediness. I think
it.
the actual sea water, I don't mind it, but it's when it gets seaweedy. And yeah, I mean, even like if I eat sushi, I don't like when you just get that seaweed on the side. I think, yeah, not my thing. No.
Well, what else have we got? So weirdly, my last one, for I have done 4, but my last one is an amber, which surprised me slightly.
Oh.
But it's an Ormond Jane one, so it's Ormond Jane Amber Royale, which is very, it's very bright and almost, it almost has a sort of watery like quality to it. It's very ethereal sort of amber. It's very uplifting. It's not really ambery at all, despite the name. But that is a lovely perfume, if arguably somewhat feminine.
They don't worry about that, do we?
No, I'm quite happy with it. I mean, people have said it smells very feminine, but I think it smells great. So fuck it. I'm aware that motherfucker. No problem. So that completes my 5, which is great. So I've got all my share on the table. So what have we not covered from Ben, from your collection?
Figs. Do you want
figs! Fucking hell, figs. Yes, of course.
I was going to say maybe we should do figs another time because it's such a huge thing. But then,
well, we've got a few minutes. We can bust open the figs.
Yeah, do. Bust open the figs.
So one fig that I've got, which is like the polite one, that's Ballade Sauvage by Christian Dior, and that smells almost identical to Cousin Matthew, but with added fig. So it's a very green verbena with a very like fresh, fruity fig, more along the lines of the sort of green fig leaf rather than the fruit, if you like. But that's lovely. Lovely fresh green fig. Then for the more summer evening, I got Yesterday Haze, which I mentioned a little while ago by Imaginary Authors, which is the complete polar opposite of that. And this is the very like milky, fruity fig, dusty kind of strange.
Which one is that again? Sorry.
Yesterday Haze.
Oh yeah, no, I've tried that. That's really good.
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? Like kind of milky, creamy fig. I think one of the strange notes is walnut bitters, orchid dust, and cream.
Cream.
It has that, yeah, like whipping cream or something.
Yeah, is that? Don't they always put like the weird fantasy notes at the end?
Yeah, tennis balls, things like that.
Tennis ball. Yeah, weird.
But yeah, that's a lovely fig, but it's complete polar opposite. Say of Ballade Sauvage, which is very bright, sort of say like more the green fig leaf. This is say full on the fruit. It's lovely though.
Nice.
Almost a bit exotic, kind of tropical almost, but it's good.
Nice. Figs, what have you got there, Fliss?
Obviously, I've got a bottle of Philosopos EDP because it's just one of the first figs that ever came out. That and Premier Figure.
Very good. Very good. Nice.
Yeah, woody, and I will wear the shit out of that because it's lovely and woody and musty and delightful. I will also wear the shit out of Fig My Love by the Zoo, which is like, again,
did you get a bottle of that one?
Opposite. Lovely Thomas East gave me a bottle to say thank you for doing the Sentiest Awards panel. I know, yeah, and I'm so pleased because especially now the Zoo is kind of on hold for a bit.
See, that's a well thought out gift as well. I mean, that's someone who's listened to this podcast, knows what you're all about, and fucking made an appropriate intervention. Well done.
Yeah, and I just think it's a phenomenal fig. There's so many figs. I mean, fig is just a huge category of fragrance now in comparison to when, like, the Premier Figure and Philosopos came out and it was so new. But now it's just the market's saturated. But I think Fig My Love stands out as this neon, bright green. And it feels photorealistic, but actually It's not. It's just painted in hypercolor. All of the juice, all of the wood, all of the leaves, all of the stems, all of that hugely ripe fruit. It just feels like it's all, like I said before, it's all the fucking fig. It's not missing anything. And it's just so...
All the fig.
Absolutely unctuous and juicy without... I mean, it treads such a fine line between being over and almost too much and just not, and just being perfect. I just think he's done a phenomenal job. Christoph Laudemel with this particular one, I just think he's nailed it for me, and I can't wait to wear it.
Nice.
I keep it for very hot summer days because I think that's when it blooms the best. And I'm very excited about it. And then if I don't want to be all the figs, I will probably wear...
Some of the figs, just some.
Ego, Memoirs London, they do a very coconutty fig, and Claire Bradshaw sent me that along with the Tilia. And though I didn't like the Tilia, I did love the Ego by Memoirs London. It's very coconutty.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah. It's a much easier wear. I think the Fig My Love, you have to ramp yourself up just to smell of the fruit bowl, all of the fruit bowl. Whereas Memoirs is a bit softer, a bit more coconutty, a bit more, just gentler. Yeah, those are my figs that I'll be wearing this summer.
I feel like I may have divested most of my fig-based perfumes. But I mean, again, shouts for Perfume and Roma. We're all being a bit shilly for fucking single houses here. Don't be surprised, dear listener, if we all produce affiliate codes for these respective houses at the end. Well, I'd just like to introduce my Penhaligons affiliate code.
If I was affiliated with Penhaligons, I'd kill myself.
Wow,
all the brands you could pick. Do you know what I mean?
That's quite a fucking brutal response. DS and Durga as well, Debaser, which is somehow inspired by the Pixies track, which is obviously
I never understood that.
Not really, but it doesn't
really
seem very...
Song,
I found it slightly more masculine for me. I feel there's something about it that's a more masculine fig, whereas
I'll take that.
Although Fig My Love is very unisex. The other two that I mentioned, I think there's a softer feeling, where the Debaser, when I wore it, I was a bit like, there's a crunch to the bottom that made me feel
nice. We should do the figs as a whole thing at some stage. That's a good shout. What have we not covered, Ben?
Tea fragrances. I mean, that's
tea.
Summer, and
of course.
I've got one.
Yes.
And I know for a fact that I Am Coming Home that you've got, Fliss. That is a banger.
I was about to say that one.
A summer tea fragrance. And then you got like all the Bulgari, like Ote Vert, Ote Rouge, Ote Noir. Like they're all fucking brilliant for the summer.
Yeah, no, you're dead right.
The one I picked though was Eau de Gaga, because it's just fucking majestic and it costs like £7 and it's brilliant. And it's like violet, tea, lime. Brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah, tea fragrance in the summer. I love a bit of tea fragrance in the summer. It's really clean, cold.
So
cool.
do I.
It's brilliant.
And shout out for Elizabeth Arden green tea. I think maybe the newer ones feel slightly more aromaphobically, but if you can get your hands on one of the older ones, that's just I think it's one of Francis Kirkjaan's first ever fragrances that he ever made, and I think it's a banging tea, and you can get it for like 10.
So I missed this off completely, but this is Atelier Cologne Filtre Ceylan Cologne Absolute. And I'm sure I mentioned this before ages ago, but Brandon of More Brand Sense, Brandon picked this bottle up. So these, I think the retail price is like £280 or something nutty for a 200ml bottle. He picked this up for £12 in TK Maxx. And decided he didn't like it, so he sent it to me, which is fucking mental.
Nice guy.
I think it's a brilliant tea fragrance, and I am going to wear that tomorrow. That is going on the desk, and I am going to wear the fucking balls off that tomorrow. Great call on the tea fragrances. What else have we not covered, Ben?
I mean, that's it for me. I say I had the Amarud, which I guess goes somewhere in some sort of woodiness, but I don't know.
Yeah,
you could probably slip it into about 4 different categories. So
that woody musky thing, though, if you've like feral girl kind of thing, or between two trees, Floricae, which I think hangs between tea and that woody musky feeling. I like that those lighter, more meditative things where you don't feel oppressed. Again, it's like wearing a tea.
Between Two Trees has that slightly biscuity side to the tea note, which I'm not wild about. But it's a good shout. What have we missed from yours then, Fliss? What any big sort of category killers?
Not really. The only other thing I would say is some light musks, but actually the biggest one that I thought I hadn't mentioned was that I am coming home, the Floricae, which is just ginger tea, and that is going to be a banger.
Really fucking the ginger in that is the best ginger I've ever smelled in any perfume. It's
the best ginger I've ever smelled in any perfume. I got it as a partial. It was like 49ml for 40 quid.
When I saw that, I was like, I fucking yes. And then I saw a few like Fliss, like, oh, I'll have that. I was like, fuck.
It didn't have the
It's just a tester. It's not the whole big bento box. But I don't care. And I know that we sort of slag off Floricae for being a bit style over substance sometimes. But I think they have two different perfumers, Eleanor Massenet and someone else. And Eleanor Massenet's stuff for Floricae I really like. She also does stuff for Memo, which I don't like. But her stuff for Floricae, I think by and large, I like.
I think the Floricae stuff is very. It's on some fairly thin ice in respect of cultural appropriation.
So thin.
And the pricing is a little bit bananas, but I prefer their perfumes to the Memo stuff because they seem to have that slightly more stripped back kind of simplicity to them. And they
hang together as a collection in a really good way.
Agreed. I think they are decent. They've got some really great ones, some that I don't like, but as a whole, I would far rather that side of the house than the Memo stuff, which is by and large pedestrian, I thought.
You know, when they first came out and they had because I know they've added a lot to them since, but when they had that original collection, they were made to be layered, weren't they? That was the idea. It was a layer in one, and there was like a very musk one, like white musk one, and then there was a very dark woody one. And you were meant to layer that.
There's called the shadow sense. They have a light shadow and a dark shadow. Sleeping on the roof, and I've forgotten what the other one is.
I mean, it's
sound of a ricochet, maybe something like that.
Exactly.
Something like that. But I mean, it's a very expensive way of layering.
Exactly. Right. Don't buy.
I always think that's a bit dodge. Hi, we've got this really expensive fragrance, but by the way, you're meant to buy 6 or 7 of them and just wear them. We'll just spray them all on.
They've dropped that nowadays, haven't they? They've sort of moved away from that idea. But that was, I remember when it first came out.
They even did a little pouch where you were meant to put all 3 in. So you put your main fragrance in the middle and the light shadow on one side and the dark shadow on the other. The little 10ml vials that they did. It was just like, that is just in itself the most expensive 310mls I've ever seen in my life.
That's ridiculous. Don't buy one £300 fragrance. Buy 3 £300 fragrances.
Yeah, because need to.
If you don't buy 3, you're a twat, and we will look down our considerable noses at you. Okay,
experience, darling.
Fucking fuck your experience. Okay, look, I think this has been a spectacular a set of summary fragrances. I would say on the whole, what we seem to have uncovered, our big conclusion, is that there's loads and loads of appropriate summer wears, and it doesn't really. I mean, I think we've managed to come up with lots of stuff that is like justifiably summery, without necessarily just being, hey, wear citrus for summer, and also it's not quite as like flippant as just, hey, summer bullshit, wear whatever you want. Which is I can respect that sort of opinion as well. You know, people should wear whatever perfume they want when they want. But I do think there is a thing about summer and things that you would feel summery in.
We've really neatly sidestepped. There's a whole sort of more feminine category of kind of almost sunscreen smelling perfumes, like Bronze Goddess and Terracotta by Goya, and those big white florals that have that
tiare
beachy
flower,
sunscreen.
anything with tiare in it. It's
and that we've managed to miss out all of those tropical ones, which actually I'm quite pleased about. But I do have some of those in my collection as well. But yeah, that beachy Bronze Goddess feel we've nipped. That's more
people very rarely sort of refer to me as a bronze goddess. I mean,
they're wrong.
I know. The bastards. Okay, well, I will be candid with you. I don't have the energy to get into the whole sun cream vibe set of perfumes tonight. I think we are there or thereabouts. Any final thoughts, Ben?
Nope.
No final thoughts. Good. I like that. Fliss, any final?
Like, on your thing, like it's I'll just shut up.
It's like the guy in the meeting, like when, you know, we're 20 minutes over for lunch and someone asks for your opinion, and it's like, yeah, if I talk now, we're going to be even later for lunch. So no, nothing. Even if he had something burning to say. Fliss, any final thoughts?
Not really. I've got a glass of wine waiting for me downstairs. What the fuck you want?
Yes.
There.
Yes. Good. Wine. That sounds like a brilliant idea. Right. Well, it's been an interesting experiment without James. I'm sure James will be back in 2 weeks, along with the rest of Les Oderants. We will speak to you then. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.